Welcome to another installment of Real Wealth Podcast. This is Michael Proctor, hosting with Leading Edge Financial Planning. And today we have our guest, the lovely Lacie Leatherman, on. She has the company Zipsip. It's a local Wichita, Kansas startup. And she had an amazing idea and went for it and has some really exciting news for us today. Initially, I think she was selling to business, and then it's consumer, I think. And so we're going to get to know more about Lacie's story and how she came up with what she's doing with Zipsip, and learn a little bit more about her development, lessons learned along the way, and a little bit of life. So welcome, Lacie.
Thanks so much. I'm so excited to be here. Thanks for having me. This is my favorite format. I love talking about it. So let's get started.
Yeah. Well, so first of all, give us a little bit of background on yourself. What's your background? How'd you get into entrepreneurship and all of that?
Not something I thought I would end up doing. When I was young, I didn't have a, really set path. I had things I liked and that I was good at, but nothing I really wanted to do. So grew up in Mulvane and then Kansas State. After Kansas State, I ended up in Mississippi. Loved K-State, loved Manhattan. Then Mississippi and then Texas for a bit doing insurance. So I sold books door to door. I think they're just coming out with a movie about it, actually.
Wow.
So sold books door to door in college for the Southwestern Company.
Yeah.
I 10 out of 10 recommend that for anyone. It served me so well later in life. It was hard when you do it, like anything else. And then, later in life, it really does serve you well. So sold books door to door, then got into insurance with a sister company. So kind of like you, was in the financial planning space when I was in Texas, and then moved back to Kansas. I enjoyed it. I did a little lobbying. I had my securities license. Really thought that was going to be my career path. I was happy. And then I just found a problem that I wanted to solve. So my initial kind of entrepreneur journey was with a company called Heartland Heritage that I had started. It's a Midwest lifestyle clothing brand. And that is still there. It had to be put on hold because of the traction we're getting with Zipsip. But that's the dream. It will be back. I don't know when it will be back, but that's really the passion project. So Heartland Heritage is a clothing brand for the Midwest lifestyle, built around Midwest values and traditions and the mindset. Our logo is a quail, bob white quail, very Midwest. Started with men's, was in a couple stores. And then I had a Heartland Heritage koozie that I had taken to a concert here in Trust Bank Arena in Wichita. And when that koozie did not fit a draft beer, everything went crazy. That's when Zipsip started. So had my favorite, it was my brand. And when I realized I was sitting at this concert with a cold, sweaty draft beer in one hand and a completely obsolete can coolie with my own brand on it that I couldn't get on the cup, I was like, why has nobody figured this out? Like it was 2017. I was like, why? I'm not the only person in this arena with a cold, sweaty fountain drink, draft beer, whatever it is. Why does your drink holder not fit your drink? So I probably didn't listen to 20 minutes of the concert. After intermission, I sat there like this. My draft cup was, maybe an inch in my can coolie. I was like, this is dumb. I'm going to fix this. So went home the next day, went to Hobby Lobby. My dad's an old tool engineer. So we went to the barn and said, hey, we have a new project. He rolled his eyes like all my other projects. And I said, we got to cut up. We're going to cut up some Heartland Heritage can coolies. And we're going to make one that fits this solo cup. It's got to have 2 zippers. It's got to fit perfect. So he kind of helped me with some of the math, the trigonometry and all that, how to make it fit. And it went from there. So made samples, long story short, couldn't get them back from friends. People started asking for them for tailgates and different things. And so then we decided to put Heartland Heritage on hold and pursue Zipsip full time with the intellectual property and that kind of stuff. And then off to the races.
Wow. So what's interesting is it seems like such an obvious problem.
Right. Yeah. I get that all the time. That's one of the funniest things. I don't know if we should do spoiler alert now, the big announcement. But one of the questions that I was asked is, what's the most fun part about bringing, Zipsip to market, to, seeing it in stores and that kind of stuff. And it's really just seeing people's reaction to something so simple. Like, oh, that's so simple, or oh, that, why didn't I think of that? Or, just those all day long. Like, oh, I love this. So that's the most fun part is it is very simple, but it's also so highly functional throughout the day. It's really a lifestyle product. Coffee in the morning, green juice, smoothie in the afternoon, truly in your driveway at nighttime. It'll fit anything.
Truly in your drive.
When you're hanging out with the neighbors on your patio.
Right. Yeah.
Driveway beers, driveway drinker. We need to make one that says driveway drinker. It's on the list.
Yeah, that's funny. That's good. And you have so many designs. I mean, you can customize it however you want, just like a koozie, of course.
Yep. So we started in the promotional kind of the journey. We started as a promotional product. We jumped into the promotional products industry. So we got the patents at the end of 2018. And then January of 2019, we actually launched. I launched this thing in about 3 months. Find a trade show, figure out where we're going to go, find a trade show, jump in. And I borrowed just enough money to get that trade show. That was it. I said, I'm going to take this thing. We're going to see what we can do with it. And at that trade show, it was just, an assistant and I. And we were named one of the top new promo products in the whole entire country on my first trade show. And we haven't really slowed down since. So that was kind of couldn't even get them as a consumer. Then we jumped into wholesale and started supplying boutiques and chain stores across the country. And now we've direct to consumer. We launched in April. So it's pretty new.
Yeah. How does somebody get a Zipsip?
So now you can get them. Hopefully, we're adding boutiques. So our website now, originalzipsip.com. Amazon. Originalzipsip.com.
Are there copycats out there already?
Not yet. Somebody owned the domain. I've had problems with domains as a business owner. That's a thing. One of those things I didn't know I was going to have to deal with at all. And those domain name pirates, I think, are the scum of the earth. Like, we could eminent domain it. We own the IP, but it's just a process that as a growing business, I don't have time to go back and fight that yet. Mm-hmm. I will, hopefully. We'll get it. I just don't know how or when. But for right now, originalzipsip.com.
Huh.
Yeah, it's crazy. Heartland Heritage was the same thing. Took me forever. I had a friend help me with that. We actually had to pay way more money than I ever imagined for a domain name. Got heartlandheritage.com. Zipsip. We've got some other stuff in the works. But yeah, managing domain names is a thing. It's crazy.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I guess I started the other way. I was like, okay, what can fit? But I guess I didn't have mainstream consumer products. It's services industries is different than consumer product. So. Yeah. Well, I wish you luck on that.
Thanks.
That front.
I'll keep you updated.
So is that the biggest hurdle that you've come across so far? Is your domain name, or
no.
what are the hurdles you've faced?
Peanuts in comparison to some of the hurdles. I think the biggest hurdle to this point has really just been, that's a great question. I thought I was going to be prepared for this one. I think it really is just the roller coaster of the entrepreneurship journey, managing the emotional aspect of not having a job description, of having this product and this thing that you believe in wholeheartedly and knowing that everyone needs one and how you make that happen. Mm-hmm. So, and there not being a roadmap, having to create the roadmap when dealing with the just absolute roller coaster that is entrepreneurship. And so I think that really was the biggest struggle, is just managing that ride for sure. That's my final answer on that one.
Okay.
It's crazy.
How have you managed the ride to this point?
Oh, I'm getting better. It's a lot of emotional intelligence. They don't tell you that. You can't learn that. But managing the wins and the losses, if you have a loss, recognizing it's not the end of the world. Getting over it in 5 seconds and knowing there's another win around the corner. And I think that just has taken me time.
Yeah.
And another thing is just learning how the game really of business is played. The longer I'm in business, the longer, we've had these relationships, like, major chain stores asking us for discounts. 2 years ago, 3 years ago, I would have said, of course. you want $2? As long as you put my product in the store, what do you want? But now it's the confidence of saying, no, the price is the price. We're the only place you're going to get a Zipsip. We're the only place your customers are going to get it. And so I think that is just emotional intelligence and riding this roller coaster and playing the game. The longer you do it, the better you get.
Right. Yeah. I guess, we're talking about roughly, I don't know I'm sure it varies a lot, but call it a $10 koozie. People are like, $10 for a koozie? Really?
Yeah. We've had stores say, I don't know if we can sell it for $10, $11, $12 with magnets, bigger sizes, that kind of stuff. Yeah. And so we've really had the education piece of educating the consumer of the Zipsip is a 5-in-1 product. It will fit your slim can. It'll fit your regular can. It'll fit your pint glass or your iced tea. It'll fit a bottle. It'll fit your solo cup, your party glass. It'll fit the bottom of your Yeti so it's not rattling in your truck cup holder.
Right.
Those kind of things. A 5-in-1, we get compared to a cheap foam koozie all the time.
Right.
And I did not know the extent of time and worry or, concern I would have over the education of just the little cardboard insert. Hours right now a week. We're kind of just redesigning because you have to look at it and know what it does. And when you just see, a Zipsip zipped up on a store shelf or a clip strip,
like a koozie.
It looks like a koozie. And so that's kind of the biggest issue right now is the education piece.
Right.
For sure. It's tough.
It's tough.
Fun, but tough.
Yeah. So you have some great people around you too. I know you have some really awesome friends and mentors and could you share a little bit about that on what that's meant for you and your development and how that may have helped you?
I don't like saying the word luck, but I feel very lucky in that I have great investors, great mentors, a great operations manager. And I think, one thing to my credit is I love relationships and I tend to hang on to them, sometimes too long, but I really love people. I got an investor early who has been incredible to me and just believed in me. And I think I did that the right way. I didn't go in and ask for $1 million. It just irks me when people do that. Like you haven't proved the concept. I see people raising money in Wichita, outside of Wichita for concepts and raising a lot of money. And I didn't do it that way. And maybe I did it wrong. Maybe I did it, not really the status quo, but I asked for pieces. I said, I need X amount of dollars to get to a trade show. Then out of that trade show, we were one of the top new promo products in the country. I got to come into the office and put the magazine down and say, now we have something. I need X amount to get to this milestone. And small chunks. Yeah. I'm talking like less than $10,000. And people are out there raising hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Right. So
I did it in incremental steps. And I think that really built trust. And so I'm glad I've done it that way. So that's the investor side. On the mentor side, I had a great buddy, Jake Wayman, introduced me to a business guy here in town, Dan Drake, and he has been instrumental in some of the success. So just as an entrepreneur, there's really not a lot of people in Wichita with consumer products. There's machine shops and there's a million things.
A lot of manufacturing.
Aeronautical, tech, all that kind of stuff, but not a lot of people with products. And so
there's Vornado, which of course is on a totally different level. There's some established,
right,
but they're more durable,
right? Or the people haven't been kind of in the weeds where I was for so long. Those companies are so established. It was kind of tough. So Dan's been great. All kind of stuff, making me feel not so crazy, confirming the emotional roller coaster is what it is, helping me get through it, celebrating wins, guiding kind of, helping me navigate some of the losses. And I think one thing people don't think about when you think about mentorship, Dan has introduced me to my importers in Kansas City and my EDI people in Minneapolis. And so
what's EDI stand for?
Electronic Data Interchange. So when we get an order from Von Maur, from Tractor Supply, from Camping World, it has to go through a third party. It can't just come to us. So we can't say, hey, I didn't get that. It's definitely all regulated. So if you want to play ball with the big boys, you got to have it. And I did that really early.
Cool.
COVID, in a weird way, stumped our growth as far as revenue early. But COVID immersely is helping us scale now in a weird way because I couldn't go to a trade show. What else am I going to do? How am I going to move this business forward? And for me, it was really focusing on those relationships. So in 2020, when I couldn't go to a trade show, I went to visit the importers in Kansas City, toured the offices, built the relationships. Now I can call them and say, hey, emergency, we have 2 pallets. We need to air in tomorrow. So that's really one of those things. And kind of the EDI too, we didn't have any of those big clients. I knew I was going to get them. It was just a belief in my product and a belief in myself. So we got those relationships built and those accounts opened early. So now when I go land a customer like Tractor Supply or Von Mar, it's quick. So it's really weird. COVID slowed us down, but also sped us up. And it's funny to see how that come to fruition. Strange.
Yeah, that's really strange. It's funny how, adversity can set us back in a way, but also help us to adapt and gain perspective that we really need for what's ahead.
Yeah. And I had no idea, sitting there in 2020, early 2021, not being able to go to a trade show or, have the traction I wanted. That's that emotional intelligence thing. You just show up and do the things you think are going to propel you forward, like building relationships, and hope that it works out. Oh, good people. Can we talk about my operations manager real quick?
Let's do that.
We missed that button on the question. So Stephanie is our operations manager, and she is incredible. Part of the Traction series of books, the Entrepreneur Operating System, talks about how if you have a visionary, how incredibly important it is to have the integrator, somebody that crosses the T's, dot the I's, and I found that. Stephanie's a lady I went to high school with. We weren't really friends in high school, but I needed help, and she stepped up, and I don't think there's another person on the planet that could, at this point, be better for the business. She is incredible at making sure that the operations things are tightened up while I go, do the big visionary kind of things. So I've been very fortunate in hiring good people. Even, I hired an assistant that turned out into more of an operations manager role kind of as we grew. She was in high school in Rose Hill. And she had, never booked a plane ticket to when she left. Unfortunately, she's no longer with us, but she called FedEx and rerouted a thing off of a train and had it picked up. Like, it was incredible. The skills that she, to meet a deadline for an order. So I have gotten lucky. I hate using the word luck, but just been so blessed by the people that have kind of been in my corner as we really start scaling this thing.
Yeah,
it's important.
It's super important. And also to build the relationships and culture that keep them around. And eventually, sometimes they, for whatever reason, maybe outgrow their role or new opportunity, or their role changes enough that, whatever. And so that happens. But to have the culture that attracts the right kind of people is really key and important and critical. Because if you don't, man, it's just, I don't know what you do if you don't have good people around you.
I know. And there's no way, and everybody kind of assumes that when you're an entrepreneur or whatever, but it's just so hard to plan for that. There's nothing you can do but find the people. There's no magic words you can put in a job description or whatever. It's just finding the person. And as we look to hire more, I probably need to hire 2 or 3 people here in the next, ideally by the end of the year going into 2023. And we've also got great consultants with, 20 plus years experience in the gift and the wholesale industry, but having those people that need to be in the office, as an entrepreneur, I don't know if it'll ever get easier. And that's one of the things I ask my mentor or mentors, is it doesn't really get easier. You're always going to have to fill positions. You're always going to have to find the right people. And it's just part of the gig.
Yeah. Maybe we pivot to the personal side a little bit.
Oh gosh. Okay.
Right?
Ready.
You ready?
Yeah.
I don't know if I should even talk about this.
Do it.
You know, so when
I'm an open book.
When I got my truck detailed,
Yeah.
that was so wild. Like that it was right across the street from your place.
That lady does a great job, by the way.
Did she do your cars too?
Yes. She did my Jeep.
It was $100.
Yeah.
And I can't believe.
Oh, I got the neighbor discount. Just kidding. I did.
Lower?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
It was great.
What in the world?
I know.
Dude, I felt bad. I tried to give him more money and she's like, no, that's okay. I'm like,
rule number 1 in business, let people give you money.
Yeah. Because they did the inside and the outside of the truck. Yeah. I mean, it was spotless.
Yeah.
That was nuts. Anyways, that was weird though.
Right. So now you know where I live. Come visit anytime.
Right. And we were, and that was right before we went to that K-State game. That was, and go State. That was so funny.
She does a really great job. Yeah.
What does your life look like? Is this your life? Or like, what do you do outside of that? How do you manage?
It's taken a lot. The hardest part about it is that you are always working. I have this year, one of the biggest lessons I learned was the consequences to not prioritizing your personal life. I'm glad I learned that now and not 5 years down the road, because it was a hard lesson to learn. I think it was definitely a lesson that I needed to learn. I think it came at the right time. Wouldn't trade it, but I am getting better at that. I think the work-life balance is something, again, those things I talk to mentors about because it's tough. And they say it's something that you're always it's something that you manage. It's not something you figure out.
Right.
And I've come to accept that. I think within this last year, I think 2022 was really that for me of figuring out how I'm going to really do more work-life balance. I think one of the best things about Zipsip is that it's a fun product. I've really gotten back into golf. So if we go golf, we went to a trade show in Las Vegas. If I go to golf, it's a sales call. Like everything is a sales call. I'm always working, even on vacation, but it's just managing the balance.
Yeah.
Trying to find it.
That is hard.
Yeah. It's exhausting.
Mm-hmm. When I was trained in this industry for the first 5.5 years, everything was about, sales, like run the numbers, make the calls.
That person could be a client. That person could be a client. That person could be a client, right?
And I exhausted a lot of people. Not just churn through them, I exasperated friendships that I had.
Right.
Trying to get business because that's all I was hammered in training to do. And I bought into it, And then when I left that environment, and I decided to do my own thing, it's like I flipped. I just swung the whole other way. And so now I'm like, okay, there's a middle ground to be had here on balance. And I think what I've found is man, it's hard work when there are things in life that, whether it's professionally or personally, that just take up so much energy, but how to manage that.
Yeah.
And, keep things from dominating the other aspects. That's hard.
Yeah.
I mean, cause when your Zipsips is going nuts, it's, how do you take care of yourself? How do you manage your friendships? Cause if your friends are she's kind of gone most of the time now.
I was gone. So July, I was in Arizona, 4th of July. So I was home 2 days, got ready for a trade show. So July is our market season. So we really focus on the gift and the wholesale industry, boutiques, major stores, chains. We really focus on that twice a year, January and July. It's just trade show season. It's buying season. It's incredible. It's busy and exciting and energetic, but it's also exhausting. So right now, I don't have the sales staff to just turn people loose. We'll get there. I think this is the last trade show season. I'm going to do it all on my own. But I was home 3 days in the middle of July. And those 3 days I was getting over COVID just in time to get and go again. So back from Atlanta out to Vegas. So it's hard to manage anything when you're on the road, a month, twice a year. So I'll get back to you if I get an answer on best practices on how to manage that, but it's just tough. But your friends know.
Sure.
They can crack jokes like, "Hey, you're not here," or "Good to see you again," or
Right.
but it's just part of it.
Right.
It's a trade-off.
Yeah. Yeah.
For chasing the dream.
So how do you take care of yourself? How do you keep your sanity and health and
I found females, I don't know if like men, but just balancing stress hormones. I've actually lost a little bit of weight and gotten healthier this year. I found a Pilates workout I love it's Melissa Wood Health, $10 a month app. And it has completely shifted kind of my focus and my well-being. I bought a Peloton. Good thing I got it now. Prices are going up. It's so crazy. That's like, could be its own. Peloton could be its
prices
like
can't go
own.
up on Peloton.
They're going up by like $1,000 or laying off workers. Going crazy. That could be a whole episode of podcast business things.
Okay.
Supply and demand. But so that and just doing that every morning, carving out the 15 minutes that for a couple years I thought I was running so crazy that I didn't have. Figuring out that if I just focus for the day and kind of take in what I need and give myself that 20 minute workout, I'm a better person. I'm less stressed. My hormones are balanced. So something I like to think about, athletic greens in the afternoon. I do the AG. I hopped on that train. Started doing that every afternoon about 3:00. So just little things like that. I'm always trying to find new stuff, but just making it a priority.
So do you?
And I haven't before.
Do you listen to Tim Ferriss?
No, I'm not a I know, I'm aware, but haven't really jumped on.
You just hit like several of his running commercials. Peloton athletic. I haven't listened to him for a while. I was like, man, she's just eating all this stuff up, and that's great.
No,
that's funny.
I finally have found kind of where I'm happy and what works for me, and
cool.
Running with it.
Yeah, nice. Do you ever do breath work?
No, I know there's a lady in town, and I really want to get in.
Yeah, I
haven't done that yet.
I'm gonna invite her on.
Okay,
because I want her to like do a deep dive on like the science of what's going on. Because I've
heard it's incredible.
It is. Here's what's weird though: if you try to describe what it's like, people are gonna think you've lost your mind.
Yeah,
that's the problem. Okay. So I'm gonna let her talk about it.
Okay.
Rather than me try to sit here and say like what's actually going on. But I will say, even in the therapy world, they recognize that I don't have a good enough handle to explain the science, but your breath, controlled deep breathing is like the thing that'll reset our nervous system or like basically like get you back down to being centered.
Right. Oh, I started getting massages a little more regularly.
Yep.
And I can walk into a massage because as an entrepreneur, you are fight or flight all day, every day. And so I've walked into massage and, thinking about like, we put out that fire. What's the next fire going to be? And just my nervous system is a wreck. So if I could pair breath work with that, attack it from two sides, I think it'd be great.
Yeah. No, I'm excited to have Brooke on. Yeah, I think it's Brooke. But man, the first time I did it, gosh, it's so trippy. That's what I've heard. It was the weirdest thing, but like so good. And it releases, I think our bodies naturally have like DMT in it, but it releases that.
Ooh.
Yeah. And it's not like you go nuts, but it's an experience. It's not like just sitting here and like taking 10 deep breaths.
Right. You're
taking deep breaths, controlled deep breaths for like 45 minutes or an hour. It's just, man, so I'll have her on at some point. Okay. But you got to try it. If you haven't tried it yet, totally got to try it.
September. I'll book it in September.
There you go. What kind of life hacks? Like, so you're busy all the time. Do you have any life hacks where you're like how you're outsourcing life or?
We've talked about this. You have a good one, right? What's yours?
Well, mine is outsourcing my laundry. Well, I've gone to Sud Share. So it's $1 a pound and they pick it up and drop it off on your front door.
Nice. I just re-upped with my cleaning lady.
Okay.
That's one. I don't have any great ones. I wish I did. I'm always trying to find them.
Mm-hmm.
If I could figure out how to make a flat white at home, if I could figure out how to steam some oat milk.
Oh.
I've jumped on the Nespresso. I don't do Starbucks a lot at all. It's a treat, not a, normal thing. But I love, without buying a bazillion dollars.
Right.
So still chasing that one.
Yeah. The bazillion dollar espresso machines are cool,
Right.
but it's kind of like, cost per wear and clothing. Because if you like something, you're like, oh, that's cool.
Mm-hmm.
But how often am I really going to wear that?
Yeah.
And then that's when, somebody else is talking about, there's like a subscription clothing service where you like swap out or.
Done it once or twice.
Yeah, yeah. But basically you're renting
it's cool,
nice clothes.
It works, yeah.
It makes sense, but.
I don't know they have those for guys. That'd be a good business idea.
Well, that's kind of along the lines of your quail thing.
Yeah. The Heartland Heritage.
Heartland Heritage, yeah.
Yeah. So it was going to be very...
I didn't know it was men's clothes.
Yeah, it was men's first. I was always going to add women's, but it was so much easier to start with a great polo shirt, a great button-down like dress shirt, hats. You had hats, sunglass straps, can coolers, long-sleeve T-shirts, short-sleeve T-shirts. With that, one of the things I'm really proud of, jumping back on that, obviously, love talking about it too, but we had... we could go. This podcast could be hours. I could sit here and talk about sourcing from China versus American made and how I learned that stuff. But I really with a brand like Heartland Heritage, how do you not have it all American made, right? But what's crazy is that's just not possible. Overseas, they make some like welded waterproof zippers and fabrics that just aren't made here. So really cool stuff. So what I did with Heartland Heritage is I had a garment first policy. Trademark that. But you have brands that are all American made and sometimes they sacrifice quality. And then you have brands that are made overseas at the, it's all about cost. There was never a brand that I found that put the garment first. So things that we needed to be super technical, we were going to have brought in. And then things like workwear that can be made in Oklahoma, things that can be made in kind of, some of the southern United States, Mississippi is one place. They're really kind of revamping textile manufacturing. And so we were definitely going to have barn jackets and those kind of things American made. And it was going to be about the garment, not the price or the location. So anyway, I'll get back into that. I got a Heartland Heritage hat I'll bring you next time.
Okay, sounds good. Can you solve the problem? I have this problem with polos. Right. Like it's like I feel like this is like too much, but then this thing is like it's choking me out. The button.
I'll work on it. See, I love solving problems. That's how all this started.
Maybe can you put like a little mini zipper behind this button here?
Yeah. Okay. Let me work on it.
The zippers your things, right?
Yep. And then, about Lml Headwear. That's my third company. I've got 4.
Okay. Tell me about LML.
I thought you knew this one. So
I didn't.
And I should have brought one. Darn it. I'm going to go pick up a sample after this. So what's so funny is it also came out of product development for Heartland Heritage. I designed a waxed canvas hunting hat. Really great fabric. And then gave them to my friends to test. And they said, Lacie, we love these, but it's too hot to wear year round. If we're, spring turkey hunting season or whatever, if it's hot. I was like, oh, okay, we'll just mesh on the back. Trucker hat, right? Easy fix. So I did a couple things. Like I took the button off the top. So if you are flying an airplane, shooting guns, the button's not digging into your head. So I was really like tweaking this. It wasn't just, out of the box. I didn't just put my logo on it. Like I was making a hat. And so when we did trucker, I was like, Velcro is cheesy. Let's, and I don't really like a snapback. How do I make it comfortable? And they asked for that too. We're like, yeah, we like trucker hats. They're just not comfy. Flex fits are nice. Okay, how do I fix this? All of my things have started with, how do I fix this? And so I re-engineered and redesigned the plastic snapback pieces so they can be sewn into the hat band with a small piece of elastic. So I basically made a flex fit hat and a snapback hat have a baby.
Nice.
So you can adjust it. You're the best of both worlds. So you could adjust it like a trucker hat, but it still has like the give and stretch of a flex fit without the big sweaty headband.
That's awesome.
So, and it's also had to take a back seat because Zipsips are going crazy. But I don't know if I really want to make hats or just license that IP. I'd love to just license the patents.
Sure.
Top of the world, if you're listening, 47 brand, give me a call.
There you go. Yeah, that's like the comfort fit,
Right.
khakis that I got on right
Yeah.
now. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm really just a 32 around the waist with some elastic involved.
That's funny. So yeah, it's so like on a windy day, you can like cinch it down and you're not going to sacrifice comfort. Like eat a big meal, if it's windy, fixes it.
Yeah.
A little elastic will fix anything.
Yeah. Perfect. Okay, what's the fourth one?
So just operating company to run all three.
Okay.
So my employees will sit at kind of the LML Ventures level. And then we actually have a couple more things in the works that we can't talk about yet.
Mm-hmm.
Some more intellectual property, some different companies, but everything kind of starts at the LML Ventures level. And then Heartland Heritage, Zip Brands, which owns Zipsip, and Lml Headwear, which owns the hat closure, kind of sit under that umbrella.
Okay.
So never thought I'd have that situation, but here we are.
Do you have any big interviews coming up, or?
So are we ready for the big news?
Yeah, what's the big news?
The big news is we are going to be on Good Morning America's Labor Day shopping special.
Wow.
So more visibility than we've ever had. Obviously, Good Morning America is huge. Everybody loves. They have very, very loyal fans that watch that.
Right.
Their steals and deals, all that kind of stuff, that shopping type stuff. They're trusted. They found us in Atlanta in our showroom there. We're in a gift showroom there, part of a great group of people. And the buyers came through and they kind of asked us to be part of one thing. And then they looked at it, came back a couple days later and said, hey, we're doing something we've never done before. We're doing a shopping thing on Labor Day. We actually want you to be a part of that. So contract negotiations. We may or may not have fudged a little on the inventory we had in stock to get the deal.
You're not supposed to say that on. Yeah.
But we knew, and it wasn't a risk, right? I know exactly where our supply chain is, and I was very comfortable in that. So for me, it wasn't a risk.
Yeah.
For me, it was here's what it takes to make that happen. And I think that's just part of entrepreneurship too. There's calculated risk, and then there's things you know you can pull off. So for us, it was a thing we knew we're okay. So we have the inventory. We're so excited to work with Good Morning America. It's a huge opportunity, but we hope it's going to give us a lot of visibility, but also a lot of credibility. Mm-hmm. We've worked so hard. We still, the big boys kind of like out there, Major League Baseball. I'm really hoping for a Major League Baseball partnership.
Right.
In every Major League Baseball stadium, they sell 25 key and coolies. 70 to 80% of what they serve is a draft beer or a fountain drink.
Wow.
They are not selling one thing that insulates 70 to 80% of what they serve for the game.
Wow.
I'm the only solution in the country that'll fit 100% of the drinks in a ball stadium.
Wow.
So there's things like that we are invested in chasing that we really hope this visibility kind of helps us with.
And when somebody's paying, what, $14 for a draft beer?
Right? And you buy the big one because you don't want to go back and miss the game, right? So you get the
Right.
So we're excited. That's exciting. So Good Morning America. And then we got some other major retailers coming on board. So you'll be able to get a Zipsip and a Von Mar department store. So we're so excited to partner with them in their men's gift section.
What's the design on that to match the Von Mar image?
Like never lost a tailgate, football, like a happy hour.
Okay.
So,
nice.
Gone fishing. So we're very like men's. The gone fishing one looks like a trout skin. It's really cool. So it's very, it fits in their gift section.
Nice. Yeah, I wonder if Royals or Chiefs are looking at, are Royals or Chiefs looking at it?
We've reached out to the Chiefs. So NFL is very different. The NFL is kind of a all or nothing situation. From the conversations I've had, it's about $1 million to come to the table for an NFL license. But the NBA is actually different. So we've reached out to the Phoenix Suns merchandiser. He loves it. So the NBA can go per team, NBA can go per team.
Nice.
NFL cannot. We've looked at some minor league baseball stuff. Actually, the Negro League. So the Kansas City team, the Monarchs, they can kind of do their own thing, whereas different minor league teams cannot.
Like the Wind Search here?
They cannot. Different exemption. So the historic, like the Negro League, they can, they have a separate logo, really cool historic logo. So we've done some like Zipsips that look like the pinstripe jerseys.
Okay.
So cool. So we hope to be, there's 11 or 12 teams in that league. So we hope to find success there and work with them next year, kind of as almost a pilot kind of program, and then go back to, look at this.
Have you explored customizing down to like a high school level or a?
Yeah, we would. It's going to be interesting to manage. We do that now. We did a class reunion, small orders. Actually, I would love to do my class reunion. I'm going to. It should be this year.
Whoa.
So it'll be interesting to see how we handle that as we grow. Right now, we're still small enough that we have the bandwidth to do that. I think as we grow in scale, we're looking at different partners in the U.S. So right now, every Zipsip we've made to this point has been fully custom. I mean, they come from the factory, and they are any color you want, anything you can imagine. There's a realtor here in town that we put his face on it. We can do pictures, photos. We did an 80th birthday, crazy photo of a guy. Gradients. And so a Zipsip doesn't start out a certain color. We print them and then they're manufactured. So back to high school's one color logos. That's kind of where eventually in this business, probably pretty soon next year, I would say that we look at more manufacturing capabilities and saying, okay, we have green ones in stock. You want your white school logo on it. We can get them to you in 48 hours.
Right.
So we don't have that yet. I'm excited to get there and work on that kind of stuff. But right now it would be we want to get it to where it's more efficient and less time consuming to do those custom orders. Right.
Yeah. Cause I mean, in a grid of how you compete, what your, so you've got if you think of it in terms of customers on this, where you have existing and new customers, or existing market and new market, right. And then also existing product and new product. The most dangerous place to play in is new product, new market.
That's where I love to play, though.
Yeah,
I think
it's the hardest to manage. And the more you continue to pile that on, the faster your complexity explodes. Right. And so it's really hard to manage that. Yeah. But I'm excited that you've gone from the promotional product to, business to business. And now you're consumer and at a GMA, level where you're going nationwide.
Really, GMA is really going to be, I hate to say a make or break for us because it's not. Stephanie, my operations manager, had said something and just mentioned make or break. And I said, that's not the case. This would be, if it doesn't go well, and I really believe it's going to be exceptional, but if it didn't go well, it would be a setback. But we've learned so much getting ready for this because we've had to get ready for this opportunity in 2-3 weeks. So it would be a setback. Not really a make or break, but I really feel like it's just going to be a launching point into the direct to consumer. So it's kind of, like I said, the minor league teams would be a test for MLB because they have the audience. So one thing, we've been so busy with promo and wholesale that we haven't had time or prioritized building our audience, getting, our Facebook page and really focusing on having people that love Zipsip who can't imagine drinking, their coffee without it in the morning or their smoothie without it in the afternoon. So Good Morning America is going to be kind of that. How does it perform when there is a huge audience with loyal followers? Do people really like this? And then that's going to let us know, and our investors know, okay, with this many followers, this much exposure, this is the result. So this is really, I think, we're kind of on, I don't know what a good analogy is. I would say it's kind of like we're on a diving board, jumping up and down on the edge of it, and we're ready to jump off. So it's really how this GMA thing is going to be. It's going to be our diving board to direct to consumer.
Yeah. So how are you going to manage going from, you have bulk orders down to, is the design GMA specific?
No.
Okay.
It's stuff that's in our catalog.
Okay.
So it's on our website.
So they can go on your website, they can order it.
Yep.
is it drop shipped? Are you guys having to package all this stuff yourself?
Yep. We're packaging it all. We're shipping it all. I mean, we've had friends, different brands that have done it. And, it's 1 a.m. You're filling orders. I can't wait. I will. You want to come down and help? There's going to be a pizza party. We're going to be filling orders, stuffing bags, putting labels on. I'm trying to do little things like our offices are in Mulvane. And so it's small enough. I know the ladies at the post office. I'm going to be like, hey, so we have this thing. We're going to need some help. How do you help us prepare? And I did that a week and a half ago. And so they're, like getting bags and we're having bins delivered just so we're ready.
Cool.
So, for right now, we're going to fulfill everything out of Mulvane. If we do it again, it might be different. I like having control the first time to understand what goes into it so that if I outsource it, I'll know what problems could arise and how I'm going to solve them. So we'll probably have a 3PL do it next time. But for this one.
And 3PL is third-party logistics?
Yes, third-party logistics. Okay. So there's a couple places that I've 3 places in Kansas City that I kind of have on a call sheet ready to go if the opportunity arises, if we need help, if it gets more complex.
Okay.
2 of them owned by Kansas State grads, actually.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, go State.
I know. Love that.
I think there's also a warehouse here in Wichita or local, just up in Valley Center. Get there.
Been there.
Okay.
Yep.
You're familiar.
Yep. Visit them. They don't do a lot of project based.
Okay.
But they said they would, or potentially maybe they could do it out of Oklahoma. So yeah, that's part of it is just figuring that out.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I enjoy that stuff. That's a part of it I like.
And also part of it is get going, get the real problems to solve.
Right.
And then do better.
Yeah.
You don't have to nail it right out of the gates.
Yeah.
Every time. Perfect.
Yeah. I see that's one thing I struggle with. My investor sometimes like, is it good enough to get it done? And I have to say yes. Is it how Lacie would want it? Do I want, my expectations when I want it a certain way? Is it that? No.
Right.
But is it good enough to get it done and be happy? Yes. We're getting to that point on a lot of things.
Right. What have you found that is really unique about your product or your company that people have valued in a way you didn't realize they were going to?
I think in our company, as a company culture, it's that we're really authentic. The Heartland Heritage brand, before even Sip brands and Zipsip were a thing, was built on authenticity. And so, and it's something with social media and the pressure to be perfect and, present your company this way, I'm getting better at just being where we are. So as a company, I think authenticity. As a product, I think the quality, because people are so used to, I would say the quality and the functionality of a Zipsip. I probably shouldn't say this, but I've had conversations. I've had people look at me and be like, does it need to be this good? People aren't going to buy more. This is going to last. And I'm like, but I'm not trading it. So now it was, yes, but they'll have their Kansas State one for games. I want, people
maybe they'll
have
get a Chiefs one.
Right. People have a drawer full of can coolers. One you got at the golf tournament. That's about that memory. You have one, for Saturdays with the Power Cat for K-State. You have, your daily that, this is in my purse 24/7. So
well,
it's a little beat up.
Does that say Hey Cowboy?
Yes. One of our best selling designs is the Hey Cowboy. And I'm not kidding you. I wish I could show before and after. You can throw these in the washing machine. This one's a little dirty because daily driver, have this on, coffees, smoothies, water bottles, green juice. I mean, I use this one all the time. But with Zipsips, you can just throw them in the washing machine. Little dish soap, scrub up, leave it to dry. I've actually put them in the dishwasher to test it. Also works. Washing machine is preferred, but just or hand wash. The white ones will wash right up. Looks brand new.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Incredible. What's maybe a life lesson you've learned that you didn't see coming until it had to really sink in along the way?
Lately, I mean, these are all the time. I'll have a different one for you tomorrow.
Sure.
But I think lately it was, we're seeing success now. And I've had a couple people around Wichita on things like, oh, it's good to see you getting traction. Because I feel like I've been doing this a long, 4 years, 3 years. And I'm not angry about having COVID because, like I said, it benefited us, but that was hard because I just thought if I put my head down and I work so hard, I'll see success. And I think I built the company in a way through building the relationships. I didn't really build this thing to just go crazy and sell $1 million. I tried to build a company. So I built our back end and invested in software before I was ready. Big software that $8 million companies are running on, we are running on, so that we don't have to slow down. And I think the biggest lesson in the last week is that when you build a company for the long term, don't be mad when success comes long term. And so realizing there's no way we could have seen success when we were implementing the things that we needed for success. So that's the biggest thing is, we haven't been an overnight success, but that's the way I built it.
Interesting. Yeah. So many companies, it does take, call it 5 years to get quasi discovered.
Right.
And then the next 10 years building it out.
Yeah. So we're in year 3, basically.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a quick ramp. I mean, to get on GMA in 3 years, it's impressive.
We're in year 4, but yeah.
Okay.
Can we just take out COVID? I have friends in the business, like they don't even count like big companies. Or to me, like, we don't even count that. We don't even compare to those numbers.
Sure.
But
yeah, if you can sell koozies with zippers for what you're doing, that's awesome.
Right. It's funny to see, like, I've got a couple mentors that initially, when I told them the idea, I was like, oh yeah, this is going to be a thing. They were like, okay. And I knew it wasn't, genuine. But now they're like, I really can't believe you did that. Like, cute idea. They were trying not to be mean, but I knew they didn't believe me.
Right.
And so the validation is fun. It's a good place to be. Yeah. I mean, investors, mentors, like, hey, I have this crazy zipper koozie and it's going to be a thing. Everybody's going to have one.
Have you ever been told you should go get a real job?
A little bit. I will say the transition. So when I was in the financial insurance space, had gotten my securities license, doing really well. When I told my parents I had just quit to go start a clothing company, no background in fashion, no desire to have a background in fashion, no desire to have a clothing company before, previously from when I decided I was going to do it. It took them, they're so supportive. I have the best parents, so supportive. But, and that initial conversation was like, the heck are you doing? What are you thinking? Like, we raised you better than this. You just don't quit something, a career to go chase, like they have always been supportive and they knew that they gave me the skills and the talents and the abilities to do so. But, right when I quit the insurance industry, that was a little rough. But now they're my biggest fans.
That's great.
So, other than, I never got told that. I mean, I've been told things that are equally, I wouldn't say destructive, that's the wrong word, but offensive. Like I had somebody look me in the face and say, you are grossly underfunded as a female in the Midwest with the business, with getting the traction you're getting. I was like, oh, this is what it probably feels like to have somebody tell you to go get a real job. So, so not exactly, but there's been, a couple of instances that I've probably felt the same way.
Yeah.
And I think it's just a belief in yourself.
Yeah. So how did you internalize that? Did you take it as like, you have no idea what you're talking about? Yeah. Or you're like, yeah, that's an interesting perspective you have. And
one, I'm very optimistic.
Right.
I am and that has served me well. Because I don't really ever think about what if this doesn't work. JJ Watt, some famous football player, said a quote. It's like, there's power in not having plan B.
Exactly. Yeah.
And I'll have to find out who said that, but I've never had plan B.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't even say Zipsip is plan B to the clothing company. It was a pivot, but they're still both plan A. We're going to make this successful and we're going to make that successful.
Right.
So having that vision and such a belief in your vision that when somebody tells you that, to have it not even bother you is powerful.
Sure.
And I just have, I think, been that way by default because of my extreme optimism.
Yeah. I have to say it, in the entrepreneurial space, the odds are stacked against everybody. Mm-hmm. But if you're going to get into it, you have to have a belief level of, I am supposed to be doing this.
Right.
And here's our purpose. Here's what we're doing. Mm-hmm. Because when you get negativity from somebody who either has never done it themselves, has never tried it, they don't understand the context of what's occurring. Right. They don't see the vision. They don't have to.
Right.
But yeah, plan B. Plan Bs, they don't serve well. I mean, strategy of like, if this happens or that happens is one thing, but, if it doesn't work out, I guess I'll just go on my happy way and figure, but yeah, when you have that belief level of like, man, this is really something great and this is going to be something great, you got to have that. And, that's good. So you get massages, you get other stuff to deal with the negativity, the stress. Yeah, that's good. Cool. Okay. So in this podcast, we talk about living the best life possible with the time we have left. Mm-hmm. What's that for you?
You mean time we have left, like rest of my life?
Yeah.
I'm really at the point now figuring that out. I know I still want a family, marriage, kids, all that is on my, I know I'll have that. So making the space for that now, I guess. I will say the one thing I want is a home based in Mulvane, for sure. Like there will be there is a Kansas root so deep that I'll always have a presence here. Whether that's a small office or part of my operations or something, because there's, so much else I want to do. So there will be a root, a foothold, a presence here in Wichita. But I really, we're going super personal, my personal life, in the dating significant other real area. Boyfriend lives in Arizona part-time, Minnesota part-time. And so I'm really looking at, I wasn't raised, I lived on the same 20 acres pretty much my entire life. So, my parents built a house and there's other things, but that was so secure. Could I raise children in a different way? And so I think the answer is yes, getting there. So whether that looks like part-time in Minnesota, part-time in Arizona, part-time wherever I want to be, remote work, like COVID taught people remote work, right? And just having the systems in place to be so productive and really lead a company and the other businesses I want to have with flexibility. And so I think the next part of my life is how I do that, how I bring more products to the market, get more things out of my brain. I love product development. So how do I balance that with the marriage and the kids and the family and do it from wherever I want to do it?
Yeah, that's a trick. Because when you're so passionate about your business and your businesses and how do you take it to the next level? How do you solve the next problem? It's like, okay, time out for a second.
Yeah.
You got to balance. Less time for that, more time for the, relationship, family, kids, all that. I don't know how you put kids in school part-time in different cities and states.
I know. But if I can figure it out, I will.
There you go.
Keep you posted on that one too.
I guess you have these child stars that travel and they do school on the road.
I know.
I don't know. Yeah, interesting.
Just 2 weeks here, 2 weeks there. I don't know. Well, it's something I am excited to figure out that I didn't think would be my future. But now, if that is my reality, or I can make that my reality and I want to, with entrepreneurship, I think there's no job description, right? Your job description is to solve problems. And I think any entrepreneur can tell you some days they would kill for a job description and work hours. But being an entrepreneur, I think is going to, for me personally, it's definitely going to make me a better parent someday, because it's just about solving the problems.
Yeah.
So
I think there's elements of what you have to face and come to terms with as an entrepreneur to make you a better person, period.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to do deep work. Otherwise, you get screwed up.
Right. Back to the very beginning of this podcast, just emotional intelligence that you build. I think they need to teach that needs to be a college. Like, there's an entrepreneur tract in any university. Like, they need to tell you, like, warning, red flag, you better hone your emotional intelligence real quick.
Right. I think having, for me, okay, so I'll just own it. For me, getting really in touch with the Enneagram, and I've taught it to our team. So we've gone through that together. Lots of reading, whether it's entrepreneurship oriented things, whether marketing, business development, strategy.
Now, do you read or do you do Audible? You read.
Okay. I read with my ears.
I'm an Audible too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've got I don't know if I'm at 200 books yet, but I got on it, I think 2 or 3 years ago.
Yeah.
Probably 3.
Audible is the ticket.
Oh yeah. 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 I have taken a ton from that and from podcasts. And faith has been super important for me. And then, just like learning to be open of like, okay, what can I learn here?
Or what's this lesson? Back to the faith piece. It's so important to me as well. But understanding that it's part of the journey you're supposed to be on, and believing in that, and, believing that God has this path for you, and that it's all part of the process. It's just so comforting.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. All things working for good. And it's like, okay, where's the good? Where's the next step?
Right.
Where do I need to?
What did I learn this lesson for?
Right. Why? What lesson? Why? What lesson am I not learning that's making this so hard?
Right. Yeah. I've been there a couple times.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, I think the entrepreneurship side of things, because it's complex, there's so many facets to it. You have to face stuff that other people don't. Otherwise, you just compound how difficult it is.
Yeah.
Not that, I mean, that sounded a little bit, I didn't mean, let me rephrase that. What I mean to say is to work at a level that entrepreneurship requires you to, because of, team dynamics, culture building, solving problems, whether it's software, how to negotiate your lease, like where to put your office, how to do your operations, how to get stuff from China in 2 days, all that crazy stuff. There's just so many more things that you get exposed to quickly that you have to figure out and solve and work through. Yeah. I didn't mean as a entrepreneurs on another superior. Yeah. So that's not what I meant to say. What I meant to say is there's just so much more you're exposed to that you have to grapple with.
Right. That's that not having that job description part. When your job description
essentially
is everything.
Yeah, that's right. The buck stops with you.
Right. Yeah.
Well, Lacie, thank you so much for coming on and sharing and telling us about Zipsips and your other brands, and excited to hear more about that. And also, who knows, maybe follow up on the GMA sales, and I want to hear you guys sold out. And
Well, we want to hear that too. We're so excited. We've got an over-under at the office about, kind of our benchmarks and what we think we're going to move and the revenue we're going to drive. So we are so excited.
We'll just wrap it up here. And this is Real Wealth Podcast and sponsored by Leading Edge Financial Planning. And we've had Zipsip on with Lacie Leatherman today. We are focused on helping you to live the best life possible at the time you have left and make wise financial decisions. So, all right. Thanks, Lacie.
Yep. Thank you.